Are you prepared to suffer to save your son? You have 5 minutes to cut off the last section of one of your fingers in front of the camera. If you succeed, you will get your reward.
Before we start, let's get something out of the way.
Jason! 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 Sean! Sean! Sean!
Now that we've gotten that out of our system, it's now time for the proper review. Heavy Rain was released in 2010 for the PlayStation 3 after a very long development cycle that started not too long after Fahrenheit was finished. In 2006, the developers Quantic Dream released a tech demo called The Casting, and that would be kind of the same engine they would use for Heavy Rain. And it took many years, and then eventually it finally came out in 2010 to critical acclaim, and now we have a remastered version on the PlayStation 4. So is it any good? Well, let's find out, shall we?
This time you're done for. You're gonna pay for all your crimes, evil one.
Ah, surrender, weakling. Say your prayers.
In Heavy Rain, you play as 4 main characters who are trying to solve the mystery of the origami killer, a killer who kidnaps his victims and drowns them in rainwater. Ethan Mars, an architect, who loses his son Jason in a tragic accident. He has now become depressed and no longer wants to live. However, he is given a reason to live when his son Sean is kidnapped by the origami killer. Madison Page, a photojournalist who helps Ethan in the search for his son. Scott Shelby, a private investigator who is hired by the families of the victims of the origami killer to solve the case, and Norman Jayden, an FBI profiler who assists the police in their investigation. The story in Heavy Rain is actually quite good. There's a great mystery as you try to solve the mystery of the origami killer, and the reveal is very well done in my opinion. I actually really liked the way they did the reveal, and I love each of the characters. You can connect with them, and just some of the moments in the game just really make you wince, as in they can be really painful. The trials that Ethan has to go through is just unbelievable. It's torment, and you know, I just love the little things about the characters. You've got Norman Jayden, for example, the FBI profiler. He's secretly suffering from a drug addiction. He's addicted to a drug called tryptocane. And throughout the story, you have to decide whether he continues to feed his addiction or kicks the habit altogether. And it's very well done. Just little things like that make the story very good, and the fact that choices actually affect the way the story plays out. There are multiple endings, meaning the game has plenty of replay value as well, and that's what I just love. There's a lot of little things about the game, and the story overall is fantastic. I love it. I think the story is great. Some people think David Cage's writing is pretty bad. I think he's good. I think Heavy Rain is an excellent story.
Are you looking for something in particular?
Give me what you got in the register. Don't fucking try anything.
Heavy Rain's gameplay is split up into 2 elements. The first element is exploration. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can explore your environment and interact with objects. You hold down the R2 button and you move the left stick in tandem to move your character. It's a little clunky, I will admit, but you do get used to it. And to perform actions and interact with objects, you move the right analog stick in a certain motion. For example, you may have to move it down, or you'll have to do it in a sort of diagonal, kind of clockwise fashion in order to perform the action. This also translates to the QTEs. That's pretty much it in terms of exploration. You move around and you interact with objects. If you're stuck and you don't know what to do, you can hold down the L2 button and it'll bring up your character's thought bubbles. You can press one of the buttons and the character will give you a hint on what to do next. The QTEs, well, I'm pretty sure you all know how QTEs work by now, so I'm not going to insult your intelligence. But, yeah, they work absolutely fine in this game, and I think they suit this game to a T. It allows the game to keep the cinematic presentation while also keeping you involved in the action. And yeah, they work perfectly fine. You can fail QTEs and still continue in the game. There's no game over, and it sometimes will result in a character's death, which, you know, is kind of cool. And it means you'll get a different ending, which again is really neat. But this doesn't mean though that this translates to the whole of the gameplay. Characters can't die at any time, though the game claims that, so that is a bit of a lie. Characters can only really die in certain scenes, so yeah. Just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, the gameplay works really well. It's nothing really exciting, but it really works for the type of game that this game is. And yeah, I think it works really well. I think the gameplay is good.
You again? If you're looking for trouble, you found it. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Graphically, Heavy Rain looks incredible. I mean, the extra detail they've put into the character models is astounding. They have better skin textures, there's more visible age lines, stuff like that. There's a lot of more noticeable things on the character models. There's even different lighting on some of the characters. Norman Jayden is a great example. If you look at the comparisons between his PS3 model and his PS4 model, it's just nice and day. It looks incredible. Textures have been redone as well, lighting has been redone, just everything really looks better. It's all upscaled to 1080p, but it does come at a cost. There are a few bugs, and people have run into issues with flickering text and other such things. I ran into a few glitches, and I had sound kind of cut out at the start, but other than that, I didn't have too many issues. Unfortunately, some of the FMVs, there aren't too many of them, thankfully, but some of them run at a... They're upscaled to 1080p, but the problem is not a whole lot of work was done on them, so they kind of look bad. It's basically 720p video playing in 1080p, and that doesn't look very good. There's a lot of artifacting, and they run at a lower frame rate for some reason, which is a bit strange. It's sloppy, really, and it's surprising considering all the work they put into the other areas of the game that they forgot to do this. But anyway, I think overall it looks fantastic. They did a fantastic job making the game look better. It looks like a PlayStation 4 game, and you know, they did a phenomenal job. So yeah, I think the game looks absolutely fantastic.
Damn! You out of your motherfucking mind, man?
Oh shit, Jack. Ain't nothing to it. Just a little bit of self-defense. Page 1 of the police manual. Kill or be killed.
Whoa. Stop, enough. I'm starting to remember some things. You be cool, I'll tell you the tale.
There's one thing you definitely can't fault Heavy Rain for, and that's for the sound. The music is composed by the late great Normand Corbeil, who did a really good job. I love the score in this game. There's a particular track I like where when you complete one of the trials as Ethan, there's this really kind of triumphant kind of kick at the end of it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I think I play that all the time. I don't know, just whenever I do something well, I just play that because it makes me feel really good. I love that. But yeah, overall the score is absolutely fantastic. Really nails the atmosphere quite well. Voice acting is good. I think Pascal Langdale does a great job as Ethan Mars. I think Judy Beecher does a great job as Madison Page. I think Leon Ockenden does a great job as Norman Jayden. I think he might be my favourite. I love his accent, even though it sounds a little weird. He does have the emotion, and it sounds good. I think his voice is great, and I think Sam Douglas does a great job as Scott Shelby. I think the voice acting all across the board is brilliant. So yeah, and the sound, perfect. The sound effects are great, and yeah, it sounds fantastic. So now time for the final conclusion. Heavy Rain holds up amazingly well. Its story is still really good. The sense of mystery is fantastic. The gameplay works really well. It suits the game perfectly. And graphically, the game has been beautifully remastered. They did a fantastic job. It still sounds very good. The music is brilliant. The voice acting is good. And I absolutely loved playing through this again. It was a pleasure to play through this game, even though I didn't get the same spark that I got the first time I played the game. But you're never really going to get that. But I think the game is brilliant still. Despite the few issues I had, I still think that if you have a PlayStation 4 and you've not played Heavy Rain, this is the perfect way to experience it. It's worth playing. I give Heavy Rain PS4 a 9 out of 10. Well, that's going to cut it for this review. Be sure to stay tuned for a Beyond Two Souls remastered review as I review the second part of the Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls collection. Thanks very much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Jason! Jason!